All right, what's everybody? The common sense perspective is here once again. All right, so I wanted to, you know, kick off today with another video. All right, update to kind of continue the conversation. All right, I started off yesterday for the very first time the common sense perspective of this channel. All right, and I've been wanting to do it for a while. I've had this dormant third channel because I do crypto channels, and I've had this dormant third channel. I was doing podcasts on it, but it wasn't. I just wasn't satisfied with what I was doing, nor did I have the time to do it. So I figured I want to retool it to do this, all right, and get my voice out, my opinion out, all right. And my whole thing is about you got to stand up, all right, and that's just the the hashtag for me is to stand up. All right, and I look at this as common sense. All right, common sense that is nonpartisan. So meaning that it's not a Republican thing, it's not a Democratic thing, even though it might be skewing or it might be leaning towards more the conservative side of things. But if you listened to my video yesterday, I told you why. Um, that was only part of the story. I didn't tell you the rest of the story. And so what pushed me over the edge to really kick this thing off even more, because I've been kind of waiting for my timing to get in, was this right here. And I thought this is a pretty good short video clip of it's a kind of a dramatization, but the twist to it. And this is the reason why uh, I wanted to just, all right, I got to get this thing going and really talk about my thoughts about things that's going on, because far too long I've been saying it to myself, but I really want to voice it out. So let's begin with this right here, because this is what really got the ball rolling to start content for this third channel. So check it out, all right? So as you can see here, you guys recall what happened, right? In Pennsylvania, you got the sniper that snuck up on the roof, and so the sniper is kind of seeing things here, can't get a good shot on Trump, and then who saves Trump? America saves Trump. Kind of a dramatization. And then, of course, you have the timing of, he's getting whisked off the stage there, and he tells everybody, or he tells the Secret Service, hey, hold on, hold on. All right, and he tells everybody, takes a pause, and what does he say? Fight. He's pumping his fight, fight, fight. With the flag in the background, and I mean, what time of the photo and all that stuff, and boom, there it is, right? So that's what really pushed me to now start this sort of content here, and take a look at what's been going on here in terms of the latest news, right? So I watch a lot of things, right? I like watching wrestling content, gym content, um, and of course, this right here is the latest information as Biden stepped down, right? And later on endorses Kamala. So we all know the track record of Kamala, and um, kind of a weird ditzy female. All right. But before we go into here, though, all right, let me go back to the Trump thing. All right, so Trump got nearly assassinated, and to me, that's what really got the ball rolling for me to start the channel and talk about just everything. There's so much to talk about, so much, from the Gavin Newsom, fiasco that's going on in California, and all the different things, regulations, policies, and everything they're trying to push so hard in California. It's just so bad, and it just it's bad. That's why you have an exodus of people leaving California, all that stuff. And as time went on, you look at everything that's gone on, all right, and everything that's happened here, everything that's gone on with everything, all right. They try to go after Trump for all the different things that you know, they you could tell it was blatantly obvious they went out of their way to go after him, right? They, with the whole thing with the the Me Too thing, the taking of the files, in Florida when they were down in Florida and went to Mar-a-Lago to say, oh, he took these classified files, kind of and then I guess the last sort of case would be the whole overthrowing the 2020 election in Georgia, which has no standing. um, and shit like that. Four major cases, three out of the four have fallen, been thrown out, and so fourth one's probably going to go away as well because it was obvious you didn't try to overthrow the election. I mean, you know, the election results, that is, and so it's just like you could just tell. And what also inspired me was there was an interview that I watched with Trump, and he was asked the very question of, why even run? Because look at what they're doing to you, right? They're really, doing all these things to you. You have a set life, right? You had a show, you have a lot of money, you could just really kick back and enjoy family, just everything. You can just enjoy life. You don't really have to be a president and take on this stress, which is true. Any other rich, wealthy person can just live the life and not have to do this sort of thing, right? Not subject themselves to being a leader of the country, to run the country, and to go through all this trouble and stress. And he's doing it because he loves America. I mean, think about that, right? For him to really set all that aside because he really loves the country. And that was inspiring also, So, because when you have all the BS that's going on in this country and in California, I'm going to be doing a lot of California focused, but yet it's, country related, worldwide related topics. And it was just like, man, it's inspiring. That's why I wanted to push this channel to get going. And that's why I'm here today. As things go on, as things come up daily, I'm going to talk about it, right? And so, obviously, yesterday, like I said, Biden stepped down as not as president, just stepped down from the being the nominee for the upcoming election in November. He pretty much got a lot of pressure to step down, and he finally folded, right? Because he kept on being adamant and being against, stepping down, and really split the Democratic Party up to the point where it was almost like it was like a split faction, right? You have the Biden Kamala side, and then you have the side that says they pretty much all need to go, right? And it's kind of true. I've watched her throughout the years, being in California and in the Bay Area when she used to be DA in San Francisco before she became Attorney General in California. I think she actually had a thing in a stint as a senator also. Don't quote me on that part. But I watched her rise. Right? I thought I mean, if you want to ask me, I think for being who she is at her age, I think she's pretty hot. But at the same time, she's ditzy. All right, ditzy, stupid. Really not the material to run a country, right? And when you think about how she got to where she's at, and I'll just say it, DEI hire, that's it. And it was obvious that Biden picked her, obviously, as a DEI hire, one as a female, two as a black female, right? I mean, that's and what timing, right? 2020. The whole fentanyl Floyd situation. I mean, the timing of everything coincided with why Biden picked this to kind of take advantage of the situation and take the black vote, right? You don't have to agree with me on it. That's just what I'm seeing from my common sense perspective. And so it's funny though, how things are. And it's funny because now, even though she's been endorsed by Biden, it's, apparent that there's still a split because, again, there's a side that feels that, all right, she should be the next in line. She's the heir apparent. But then others believe that they should just open it up completely to almost like a primary to kind of just redo everything again, even though they'd had a primary and the primary, they pretty much stacked the deck and said nobody's running, all right, except for Joe, all right? And that's what they did. Democratic Party, even though they act like they stand for the people, they stand for minorities, all that stuff is a complete crop of shit, all right? Um, like I said, when you're living through the times of progressiveness and you're in it, you don't realize that, right? You feel like they are working for you. They are working for the struggle of liberal and progressiveness, and you feel like they're backing you, right? But as time goes on, you look at when you start making money, you start having a career, you start having all these different responsibilities, paying taxes, owning a home, all that stuff, right? And as you start to gain more income because you start getting better jobs over time, right? You start to realize that they're all about taxation. They tax the shit out of you, all right? Tax the shit out of you. And when you look at it, it's like, wow, so what is Democrats good for? Right? Their progressive liberal agenda. Think about it. The destruction they have caused across California and America, right? They wanted to defund the police. What happens? Crime has gone up, but of course Gavin Newsom denies it, right? Um, Rates keep going up on everything, right? Because the government keeps printing money. And plus, you have these sort of policies in place. You have the lobbyist. You have all these different factors that feed the pockets of the politician. They don't give a damn except take the money and just push the agenda, like this whole green agenda bullshit, right? It's an obvious common sense perspective push that, hey, you know what? These people are paying these politicians to push the agenda. And that's what we're stuck with, this bullshit agenda about, oh, green is the best thing ever, and oh, we got to go all electric, and we got to get away from gas. So they're trying to cut off all gas-powered stuff, right? Like, for example, gas-powered lawnmowers, leaf blowers, all that stuff. I had to order mine out of state because they have already started banning those in California in terms of buying new ones, right? They're still, if you still have one, you still have one, but in terms of buying brand new at a store, you can't buy one in a store. It's all electric. So what do? I order one out of state, right? Gotta love Amazon and eBay and all that. It's bullshit like that, all right? Paying more for everything. You're paying more at the stores. What has Democrat progressive liberal agenda has done for us? They really done nothing for us except really making us pay more and more and more out of pocket. They continue to tax the shit out of us, and we're getting less and less and less and less services, right? As conditions get worse, right? Roads are getting slower to rebuild. You got a train to nowhere. You got a homeless problem. You got a crime problem. All kinds of shit, right? And that's why we need the change in leadership. You got an open border. You got all this shit going on. And what happened to this border czar here? Remember how they appointed Kamala as the border czar? All right. So think about that. Well, what has she done as a border czar? Nothing. I think Biden just gave her the title, and that was that. uh, so we've seen the last 4 years. The last 4 years have been bad, right? Condition wise out there. Um, since COVID, pretty much. It was a new thing, and they really pushed this whole stupid mask bullshit. All right, and you should see my old workplace, right? My workplace. I was so anti, taking the shot, whatever COVID shot. So anti COVID shot that they forced people like me to do testing twice a week, right? And twice a week, whereas if you got the shot, no test required. And it was like, wow, So I did it. I did my 2 tests a week because I refused to take the COVID shot. And to this day, I've never taken one. And they pushed the whole mask bullshit. So I wore the mask until I didn't have to anymore. Right when they started lifting those restrictions, the mask came off. Right, I was like, I'm not going to keep continuing to wear the mask if they say I don't have to anymore. But I had to. I was fine with that. I didn't care about the extra step of wearing a mask and doing the extra testing every week, which is stupid. Um, but I was not going to put some shit in my body. All right. So that's what happened there, and just things got worse over time. I mean, look at all the different things that are happening. Right, store closures. Prices have gone up and everything. Yeah, the wage increases. I mean, you're stacking everything to just make this dystopia happen in here, as evidence here in Oakland. See this thing, Automax of Bay Area? I know where this is. This is 12th Street in Oakland. And I used to drive by there because across the street used to be an auto parts, kind of like a store where you could modify. You buy stuff to modify your car with lower body kits and all that. And that's across the street from Automax. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. This is the place. I used to park along 12th Street to go inside here. And my bad. I was thinking it was across the street, but this is the actual place I used to go in here. All right. When I was going to college, and I'm driving home because I used to. Oh yeah, commuting in the Bay Area is terrible, right? The trains are slow, the BART train, and I just drove. I just chose to drive. Driving is faster than taking the BART train and all that. So when I leave San Francisco, because I went to SF State, and I drive into Oakland, I will always hit up 3 different car stores at least once a week. This Automax was one of them. There was a place called Carboy. There was another one down on man, I can't remember the name of that other one, but it was about 2 blocks away from Carboy. And then this one is away from the whole Chinatown, Oakland area. And I would drive out to this way and visit Automax. All right, and man, I can't believe how torn up this is. But at the same time, I can't believe it because if you were to go to Oakland today, present day, like back then, yeah, you would have a little bit of crime and stuff in Oakland, obviously, because it's Oakland. But it wasn't that bad, right? It was tolerable. But man, you go there today, I'll even say it right now, it's a fucking dump. All right, it's a dump of a city. Like there is really nothing worth going to Oakland for. All right, think about everything that's going on in Oakland. All right, they lost all their teams. The Warriors, the Raiders. All right, the Warriors left first. The Raiders left. Oakland A's are leaving. All right, they're playing in Sacramento. They're going to be leaving. And eventually Vegas. Right. They got nothing. They have no ball teams left, and they let the city just kind of go out of hand because they defunded the police as crime was going down towards the end of the 2010 decade. And then, of course, you have fentanyl Floyd that happened in Minnesota. They pushed this whole progressive agenda of defunding the police. Oh, we could put this money into other resources, right? And no, and they just let everything get out of hand. Crime, graffiti, homeless, and so Oakland is a dump. All right, I I want to go out there just because I want to just drive through and just see how much of a dump it's become. But it's like this. But think about this: all over the city, right? Look at that visual, all over the city. Graffiti. You can even see it off the 880 freeway. You're driving by on the 880 freeway. That's the main thoroughfare, and you get to see graffiti on buildings everywhere throughout the city. Just driving on the freeway, right? And I grew up hanging out in places in Oakland and going to places like Chinatown or going to Fairyland and all that when I was a kid and things like that out there. Taking family to the Rose Garden, as I got older. But man, now it's like there's really nothing to go for there. Right? That's a whole different story here with Shangtao, which if you ask me, I would bang her. But just saying. But yeah, this is a mess of a city as well. But yeah, so this is not over right here. This whole thing is not a shoe-in. All right, with Kamala. My whole take is what I said yesterday if you watched yesterday's video, my introduction video. I say Gavin for president. All right, because it's a twofold scenario. All right, that's going to happen here. One, she's not good enough. Right, she's not good enough to be president. And I'm not trying to sound biased, sexist, racist, whatever. All right, but think about this. What if she happens to pick a vice president nominee as a female? Would you want two females running the country with the same agenda? Think about that. I'm just asking. It's a rhetorical question. All right, we've already seen Joe's work. The open borders, the Bidenomics, inflation, right? Prices have gone up on everything. Job growth is not really job growth, right? It's just gaining jobs back from pandemic. And oversaturated with government jobs, right? There's too many redundant positions. There's too many blown budgets throughout progressive liberal cities across America. Think about it. They've overspent on illegals coming into the country. So you have all that. And think about that now. You want more of that for the next 4 years with this? Open borders, what do they call those cities? The cities of that helps the illegals out, right? All that shit. New York, Chicago, Denver, Portland. All of a sudden they had open doors, open arms to saying, oh, got to go somewhere else. We're out of space. We're out of budget. And it's like, you wanted this shit. All right. So Texas funnels them out, but it's not all on Texas though. All right. But yeah, you have a Gavin Newsom problem here in California. Just think about this. All right. Gavin Newsom problem here in California. Think about that. He opens the borders. He gives them everything. He gives them all everything. All right, everything that you ever need. Insurance, health insurance. You want to get a license. You want to get, food stamps, EBT, all that stuff. All right, think about all that. And what's that doing for us? It's just causing a population issue because now we're stuck with all these people that's taking up all these resources that we're paying for, and we can't do nothing about it. Get screwed over. So common sense says, for example, we were over budget by like $40 to $60 billion. I mean, common sense would say, you know what I'd do if I was governor? I'd be like, let's see, I would close the border. I would cut off any sort of gimmicks and compensations for all the illegals. I would cut all these different government California positions, right? Like, if you don't need all these extra jobs working in government because it's redundant and you have a position of a position of a position, and all these stupid councils and all the different, increases in wages, that's really too artificial and not a natural raise that should be given. Cut all that shit back. Common sense said you will cut all that shit back. Cut off social programs, because if you don't have enough money to fund the social programs, sorry about your damn luck. Cut it off, right? It's common sense. What else is common sense? The homeless problem, right? They keep feeding money to the homeless. Here's money, here's money. And the problem is they have mental issues. They have drug issues. So how about this? Maybe put more funding into the mental hospitals to have their problems fixed, their addictions fixed. How about using some of the closed prisons to utilize as a mental institution for some of these people that have addictions, to get them good and ready and back to normal again. How about really go after people that commit crimes, to clean up the streets, right? So what does that mean? Yes, you'll have to open the prisons again. So there's so many different things that can fix budget problems in California and across the United States, and it's so easy, right? It's obviously is not following and supporting the progressive agenda. Because look at what has gone on. Progressiveness has made conditions in America worse. So common sense thing, is saying maybe we should roll things back. If we need to change, it's obvious we need to change. If we become less dependent on foreign things such as oil and gas, when we could drill for our own, well, common sense say we should do that, right? If we're less dependent on world stuff, I mean, it would bode well for us, right? If you roll back policies and regulation, cost of living would go down, right? If you stop printing money and actually, fix the problem at hand instead of just feeding money into it, such as the addictions, the homeless issue, right? Such as all these social programs that all you're doing is printing money and giving rather than actually funding it with a purpose. You got to get rid of the NGOs, right? These non-governmental bodies and institutions that keep feeding to the problems of the homeless and the illegals. I mean, there's so much shit that can be fixed easily, right, with common sense. But yet, common sense ain't so common, and we have idiots that run, whether it's the government or whether it's leadership, if you want to say. But the one that really makes sense is Trump, and I'm just looking at it in a common sense perspective, because he's really looking at it like, why are we doing all this stuff that we're doing, right? That's why he's against that. It's obvious with the Democratic progressive agenda. They're, when they say, they're doing all these things to help you, it's really helping them. The nonprofits are really profiting government, and they get kicked back with that. So, in order to fix things, we got to pull all that shit back and really push out the corrupt people. And corruption is at its finest with the Democrats and progressives. And you can really see it, how blatantly corrupt things are, because of all this different agenda that's happening. And when you see the different non-profits and different bodies pushing the cause, you got to really look at why they're pushing the cause And are they really truly fixing the problem or helping? No, it's not. And all it's doing is just feeding the politicians money to push the agenda that none of us really support, and then, stuck with a bag of goods. So think about that. Food for thought. All right, so this is what's happening now. Not everybody's on board with Kamala. I think, if anything, and it's so obvious, I think Gavin Newsom's ego, he'll probably be pushed in to be the next nominee, and I hope he's stupid enough to take it, because I want him to get trounced by Trump. That way, she's out, Biden's out, and Gavin's out. That's a strikeout, baby. All right, so other than that, that's the latest here. I wanted to bring you guys. Thank you. Comment down below, and more to come. More to come. I'll see you next one.